I've always been a light sleeper, the kind who jolts awake at the faintest creak of the floorboards or the distant bark of a dog. It's why I got the camera for the backyard. Living alone on the edge of town where the trees press close and the streetlights barely reach, I wanted peace of mind. Deer wandered through sometimes, and once I'd seen a fox slink past the shed. The camera was simple, motion-activated, night vision, hooked up to my phone. I mounted it on the porch railing, angled to catch the stretch of grass between the house and the woods. The first few nights, it worked like a charm, blurry shots of a raccoon, a moth fluttering too close to the lens. Then, on the fourth night, she showed up. I woke to my phone buzzing on the nightstand, the app's alert flashing, motion detected, 2:13 a.m. Groggy, I tapped the screen, expecting another animal. The footage loaded, grainy green from the night vision, and there she was, a hooded figure standing dead center in the frame. No face, just a black void where the hood swallowed the light. She didn't move. She didn't sway or shift like someone caught off guard. She just stood there, staring straight into the lens. My stomach twisted. I checked the timestamp again, 2:13 a.m., 10 minutes ago. I stumbled to the window, yanked the curtain aside, and peered out. The yard was empty, moonlight pooling on the grass. Nothing. I told myself it was a prank. Kids from town, maybe, screwing with the new guy. I checked the footage again in the morning, sunlight streaming through the kitchen. She was still there, same spot, same unnerving stillness. The timestamp showed the clip lasted 16 seconds before cutting off, probably when the motion sensor decided nothing was happening. I played it 3 times, zooming in on that hood. No features, no hint of who it could be. I called my neighbor, Tom, who lives a half-mile up the road. He laughed it off, said it was probably just someone lost, cutting through yards. "Lock your doors," he added, half-joking. I did. That night, I barely slept, phone propped on the pillow beside me. The alert came at 1:47 a.m. My pulse hammered as I opened the app. There she was again, same hood, same spot, same stare. 16 seconds of nothing but her, rooted like a statue. I checked the window. Empty yard. I checked the footage timestamp against my phone's clock, 10 minutes ago. My hands shook as I locked the bedroom door, something I'd never bothered with before. I scrolled back through the app's history, no deer, no raccoons, just her, every night since that first sighting. Always between 1 o'clock and 3 a.m. Always 16 seconds. By the third night, I couldn't take it anymore. I stayed up, coffee bitter on my tongue, watching the live feed on my laptop. The yard glowed green on the screen, shadows twitching as branches swayed in the wind. At 2:09 a.m., the motion alert pinged. I froze. She was there, same place, same hood, but this time her head tilted slightly like she knew I was watching. I slammed the laptop shut, heart clawing up my throat. I didn't check the window. I didn't want to know. The next day, I called the cops. They came, 2 of them, boots thudding on my porch. I showed them the footage for nights now, all saved in the app. They watched in silence, faces blank. "Could be a glitch," one said, scratching his jaw. "Or someone messing with you. We'll patrol the area." They left without much else. That night, I set up a second camera, a cheap one from the garage, pointed at the same spot. If she showed up again, I'd have 2 angles, proof it wasn't just some digital ghost. The alert hit at 2:31 a.m. I opened the app, breath shallow. Both cameras caught her, same hood, same stare. But the second feed showed something the first didn't, a faint outline of my house in the background, the kitchen window aglow. I hadn't left the light on. I crept downstairs, gripping a baseball bat, every step creaking louder than the last. The kitchen was dark when I got there, the switch cold under my finger. I flicked it on, then off. My phone buzzed, another alert. I opened it, dread pooling in my gut. The footage loaded. She was inside. Standing in my kitchen, hood up, staring into the second camera I'd left on the counter. 16 seconds. The timestamp said 2:35 a.m. 2 minutes ago. I was in the kitchen 2 minutes ago. I turned, bat raised, but the room was empty. The air felt thick, like something had just slipped out of it. I didn't sleep after that. How could I? The image of her standing in my kitchen, hooded, faceless, staring, burned into my skull. I replayed the footage until my eyes ached, searching for anything to explain it. The second camera's angle showed the back door behind her, shut tight, the deadbolt still thrown. No smudged glass, no footprints on the tile. She'd been there, but she hadn't. I checked every window, every lock. Nothing was out of place. The bat stayed in my hand, its weight a flimsy anchor against the panic clawing up my spine. I called the cops again at dawn, voice cracking as I begged them to come back. They did. Slower this time. Their skepticism thicker than the coffee they sipped on my porch. I showed them the new clip, her in the kitchen, the timestamp pinning it to when I'd been right there. The younger officer frowned, rewinding it twice. "You sure you didn't stage this?" he asked, half accusing. I wanted to scream. The older one just shrugged. "We'll file it, keep an eye out. Get some rest." They left me standing in the doorway, the morning sun doing nothing to warm the chill in my bones. I couldn't stay in the house. Not after that. I packed a bag, phone, charger, wallet, and drove to a motel 20 miles out. A squat brick building off the highway with flickering neon. I figured distance might break whatever this was. The room smelled of mildew and stale cigarettes, but the bed was flat and the lock clicked shut. I set my phone to silent, the camera app closed. If she showed up, I wouldn't know. Ignorance felt safer than watching her creep closer. I woke to a buzz at 3:04 a.m. My phone screen glowed through the dark, * motion detected star. I hadn't opened the app, hadn't touched it since I'd left, but there it was, alive on its own. My mouth went dry. I tapped the notification, hands trembling. The footage loaded. My backyard, green and grainy, the familiar stretch of grass. She was there. Same spot, same hood, but closer now, her head tilted up like she was sniffing the air. The second camera's feed popped up unprompted. It showed the kitchen again, empty this time. The clock on the wall ticking 2:59 a.m. I checked my phone's clock, 3:05 a.m. now. The timestamps didn't match. She was back at the house, but the footage was live. I called Tom, my neighbor, fumbling the phone against my ear. It rang 5 times before he picked up, groggy and annoyed. "It's 3 in the damn morning," he growled. I didn't care. "Go to my house," I said, voice shaking. "She's there. Right now. Look out your window, something." He grumbled, but I heard his bed creak, his footsteps thudding. A pause, then, "Your yard's empty, man. Lights are off. You okay?" I didn't answer. The app pinged again. New footage. Her in the backyard, head cocked, closer still. The second camera showed the kitchen clock, 3:02 a.m. I hung up on Tom mid-sentence. I didn't trust my eyes anymore. I didn't trust the cameras, the house, myself. But I couldn't stay away, I had to know. I drove back, the highway stretching endless and black, my headlights cutting through fog that hadn't been there when I'd left. The house loomed as I pulled into the drive, windows dark, the porch light dead. I grabbed the bat and my phone, the app still open. No new alerts. I checked the cameras manually. Both feeds were blank, just static fizzing across the screen. Inside, the air was wrong. Too still, too heavy, like it was holding its breath. I flipped the kitchen light on, bat raised. Nothing. The clock read 4:17 a.m., synced with my phone. I exhaled, shaky, and set the bat down. Then the app buzzed. Motion detected, 4:18 a.m. The footage loaded before I could stop it. It was the backyard camera, me standing on the porch, bat in hand, staring into the lens. I'd been out there 3 minutes ago. I turned to the back door, glass fogged with my breath. A shadow shifted beyond it, hooded, still. I yanked the door open, ready to swing. The yard was empty, dew gleaming on the grass. My phone buzzed again. The second camera's feed. Me in the kitchen, staring at the door I just opened. Bat on the counter. Behind me, she stood, hood up, inches from my shoulder. I spun around. The room was empty. The lights flickered, and the app pinged once more. The lights didn't just flicker, they died. The kitchen plunged into black, the hum of the fridge cutting out, leaving only the sound of my own ragged breathing. My phone buzzed in my hand, screen glowing like a lifeline. Motion detected, 4:20 a.m. I didn't want to look, but my thumb moved anyway, opening the app. The backyard camera showed static, then cleared, me standing in the yard, staring up at the lens, bat dangling at my side. I hadn't left the kitchen. I was still here, frozen by the counter. The second feed loaded. The kitchen, me clutching the phone, wide-eyed, and her, right behind me, hood swallowing her face. I could feel the air shift, a cold prickle brushing my neck. I turned. Nothing but darkness. I bolted for the front door, shoes skidding on the tile. The bat stayed behind, I didn't care. My phone buzzed again as I fumbled with the lock, hands slick with sweat. I didn't look at the screen, just yanked the door open and stumbled into the night. The air outside was sharp, wet with fog, but it didn't feel safe. Felt like a trap tightening. I ran to my car, keys jangling, and locked myself inside. The engine roared to life, headlights slicing through the haze. I peeled out, tires screeching, not daring to glance at the house. I drove aimlessly, back roads twisting under the tires until the gas light blinked on. I pulled into a 24-hour diner, the kind with chipped mugs and waitresses who don't ask questions. The clock above the counter read 5:38 a.m. My phone sat face down on the table, buzzing faintly. I ignored it, sipping burnt coffee, trying to piece together what was real. The footage couldn't be right, I hadn't been in the yard, hadn't stood there staring. But the timestamps, the angles, they matched too perfectly. And her. Always her. I flipped the phone over. 3 new alerts stacked on the screen, 4:25 a.m., 4:37 a.m., 5:02 a.m. My gut churned, but I opened the first. Backyard camera, me climbing out of the car, headlights still on, walking toward the house. I hadn't gone back. I was here, 30 miles away. The second clip, kitchen camera, me standing by the sink, staring at the back door, her silhouette faint in the reflection of the glass. The third, backyard again, me, closer now, face blank, eyes locked on the lens. The hood was gone. It was my face, but not my expression, empty wrong. I dropped the phone, coffee splashing across the table. The waitress glanced over, eyebrow raised, but I couldn't speak. My reflection in the diner window caught my eye, pale, unshaven me. I touched my face, fingers trembling. The phone buzzed again. Motion detected, 5:40 a.m. The clock above the counter ticked to 5:40 as I watched. I opened the app, dread a living thing in my chest. The backyard camera showed the car, empty, headlights off. The kitchen feed loaded, her, alone, standing where I'd been, hood up, head tilted like she was listening. Then she turned, slow, deliberate, and looked into the lens. No face. Just shadow. I left the diner, abandoning the coffee, the phone still buzzing on the table. I didn't need it anymore. Whatever she wasn't tied to the cameras, they were just her mirror. I walked into the fog, the highway stretching ahead, and kept going. Hours blurred, sunrise came, weak and gray, but I didn't stop. I couldn't go home. I couldn't face her, or me, or whatever line had blurred between us. Days later, I heard from Tom. He'd gone to check the house after I stopped answering calls. The cameras were still running, batteries dead now, but the footage was there. He watched it, voice tight over the phone. It's you, man. Hours of you, standing in the yard, the kitchen, just staring. Then nothing. Last clip's blank. I didn't ask about her. I didn't tell him I'd seen my face without the hood or that I'd felt her breath on my neck when the lights went out. I hung up, my shadow stretching long on the motel carpet where I'd holed up. I don't know what she wanted or why she wore my skin on that last tape. But I feel her still, every night, every mirror, every time I close my eyes. The cameras are gone, but I'm not alone. I never was. I'd been in the house 3 days when I found the cameras. The move was a blur, boxes stacked in corners, furniture shoved against walls, the kind of chaos that comes with uprooting your life. It was an old place, single story, sagging a little at the edges, but the price was right. The realtor said the previous owner, some recluse named Harold, had died a year back and the estate just wanted it gone. No red flags, no weird vibes. Just a quiet street and a roof that didn't leak. I liked it fine until I opened the closet in the spare room. The door stuck at first, wood swollen from years of neglect. When it gave, I saw the setup, a metal box bolted to the shelf, wires snaking out like veins, feeding into a dusty monitor and a hard drive humming faintly. A security system, old but functional. For tiny cameras blinked red in the corners of the room, their lenses catching the light. I hadn't noticed them before, too small, too well hidden. A chill crawled up my neck. Who puts cameras in a spare room? I lugged the box to the living room, plugging the monitor into an outlet. The screen flickered to life, grainy but clear, showing 4 feeds, the front porch, the backyard, the kitchen, and that spare room. Live, all of them. I waved at the kitchen camera, saw my hand lift on the screen. Creepy but not surprising, Harold must have been paranoid. I figured I'd rip them out later. For now I was curious. The hard drive had a folder labeled Archive. I clicked it. Hundreds of files, dated back years. Most were empty, hours of the porch at night, the backyard under snow, the kitchen clock ticking silently. I scrolled, the dates creeping closer to now. Then I stopped. A file from 2 nights ago, kitchen underscore 02 dash 24 dash 25 underscore 01 dash 13 a.m. I'd moved in on the 23rd. My chest tightened. I opened it. The footage was dim, night vision casting everything green. The kitchen looked like it did now, my coffee maker on the counter, my jacket slung over a chair. And there I was, standing by the sink, head down, hands braced on the edge. Motionless. I didn't remember that. I'd gone to bed at midnight, exhausted from unpacking, not wandering around. The clip ran 30 seconds, me just standing there, then cut off. I checked the timestamp again, 1:13 a.m. 2 nights ago. My skin prickled. I opened another, spare underscore 02 dash 24 dash 25 underscore 03 dash 07 a.m. The spare room boxes still taped shut, the closet door ajar. Me again, sitting on the floor, back to the wall, staring at nothing. My face was slack, eyes half open, like I was asleep sitting up. I hadn't been in there that night. I'd crashed in the bedroom, door locked out of habit. The clip ended at 30 seconds, no movement, no sound. I rewatched it, heart thudding. It was me, my shirt, my haircut, but I hadn't done that. I tore through more files. Every night since I'd moved in, there I was, pacing the porch at 2:46 a.m., standing in the backyard at 4:19 a.m., sitting in the kitchen at 3:33 a.m. Always still, always blank-faced, always alone. The cameras had caught me doing things I didn't remember, things I couldn't have done. I'd slept through those hours, I was sure of it. I checked my phone's sleep app, the one that tracks motion. Flat lines every night, no tossing, no turning. I hadn't left the bed. By midnight, I was wired, the monitor's glow burning my eyes. I unplugged it, but the hard drive kept humming, red light steady. I yanked the power cord from the wall, silence. Good. I locked the bedroom door, shoved a chair under the knob, and tried to sleep. My phone buzzed at 2:03 a.m., a notification I didn't recognize, new file detected. I hadn't installed any software, hadn't linked the system to my phone. I opened it anyway. The screen showed the kitchen feed, live. Me, standing by the fridge, head tilted like I was listening. I wasn't in the kitchen, I was here, in bed, staring at the phone. The timestamp ticked, 2:04 a.m. On the screen, I turned, slow and deliberate, and looked straight into the camera. My eyes were wrong, too wide, too dark. I dropped the phone, chest heaving, and listened. The house was silent. Too silent. I didn't move for a long time after that. The phone lay on the floor where I dropped it, screen dark, but I could still see that image, me, or something wearing me, staring into the camera with those hollow eyes. The chair stayed wedged under the bedroom doorknob, my only shield against whatever was out there. I told myself it was a glitch, a trick of the old system, but the silence in the house felt alive, pressing against my ears. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. At dawn, I crept out, avoiding the kitchen like it might bite. The living room was unchanged, boxes, couch, the metal box from the closet still unplugged on the coffee table. I grabbed a screwdriver from my toolbox and went to work. The cameras came down fast, porch, backyard, kitchen, spare room. Their wires dangled like cut nerves, and I tossed them into a trash bag with a satisfying clatter. The hard drive was next. I pried it open, exposing its guts, and smashed the disk with a hammer until it was a mess of shards. No more footage. No more lies. I spent the day pretending everything was fine. Unpacked a few boxes, made coffee, kept the radio on to drown out the quiet. But my eyes kept drifting to the corners, expecting those red blinks. By noon, I'd convinced myself it was over, Harold's creepy setup was gone, and I was free. I even laughed a little, shaky but real. Then my phone buzzed. New file detected, 11:57 a.m. My stomach dropped. I hadn't reinstalled anything. The cameras were in the trash. I opened the notification, hands cold. The screen showed the kitchen, my kitchen, live. Me, standing by the counter, pouring coffee, radio humming in the background. Exactly what I'd done 10 minutes ago. But there was no camera there, I'd ripped it out myself. I turned, half expecting to see a lens winking at me, but the ceiling was bare. The footage kept rolling, 30 seconds of me sipping coffee, oblivious. Then it cut to static. I threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall, screen cracking, but I didn't care. This wasn't the system, I destroyed it. Something else was watching. I grabbed my keys and drove to the hardware store, bought a cheap prepaid phone, left my busted one behind. No apps, no connections, just a clean slate. I stayed out until dusk, avoiding the house, but I couldn't stall forever. I had to go back. The place looked normal when I pulled in, lights off, curtains still. I unlocked the door, holding my breath. The living room smelled faintly of dust and metal, the trash bag of camera parts slumped by the couch. I flicked on every light, chasing shadows, and checked the corners again. Nothing. The prepaid phone stayed silent in my pocket, no buzz, no alerts. I exhaled, tension easing just enough to sit down. Then I heard it, a faint hum, low and steady, coming from the coffee table. The hard drive was plugged in. Its red light glowed, wires coiled neatly back into the box, monitor flickering awake beside it. I hadn't touched it. I'd smashed it, shards still glittered in the trash. My pulse roared in my ears as I yanked the plug again, harder this time, and flung the whole setup against the wall. It hit with a crunch, pieces scattering. The hum stopped. I stood there, panting, waiting for it to start again. It didn't. I locked myself in the bedroom, chair under the knob, prepaid phone clutched like a talisman. Midnight came and went, no buzz, no hum. I drifted off around 3 a.m., exhaustion winning out. I woke to sunlight and silence, the house feeling almost normal. I checked the living room, the broken box stayed broken, wires limp. Relief crept in, fragile but real. I made coffee, avoiding the trash bag, and sat on the couch. The prepaid phone chirped, new file detected, 03:14 a.m. I opened it, dread flooding back. The screen showed the bedroom, me, asleep, sprawled across the bed, chair still wedged under the door. The angle was high, like a camera in the ceiling. There wasn't one, I checked. I watched myself breathe, slow and even, then stir slightly. Behind me, the closet door slid open, inch by inch. Something stepped out tall, thin, head tilted. It wasn't me this time. It wore no face, just a blank stretch of skin where eyes should have been. It stood over me, watching, until the clip cut off at 30 seconds. I didn't scream. I couldn't, my throat locked up, air trapped in my chest as I stared at the footage. That thing, faceless and silent, looming over me while I slept. I dropped the prepaid phone, its chirp echoing in my skull, and bolted to the bedroom. The closet door was shut, just like I'd left it. I ripped it open, half expecting that blank face to lunge out. Nothing, just empty shelves and the faint smell of mildew. I checked the ceiling, the walls, every inch of the room. No cameras, no wires. My hands shook as I dragged the chair away from the doorknob and sank onto the bed, staring at the phone on the floor. I didn't pick it up right away. Part of me wanted to smash it, bury it with the rest of Harold's junk, but I needed answers. I grabbed it, opened the app, somehow installed on this new device, and replayed the clip. There I was, asleep, oblivious. The closet door sliding open, slow as a held breath. That figure stepping out, too tall, too still, its head cocked like it was studying me. No eyes, no mouth, just smooth, taut skin. It didn't move closer, it just stood there, 30 seconds of unbearable silence, then static. The timestamp burned into my brain. 3:14 a.m. I'd been right here. I tore the house apart after that. Every closet, every cabinet, every shadow got a flashlight in its face. I found nothing, no hidden lenses, no secret wires. The trash bag of camera parts stayed untouched, the hard drive still shattered. But the footage kept coming. By noon, the phone chirped again, new file detected, 10:22 a.m. It was me in the kitchen, ripping drawers open, wild-eyed, searching. The angle was from above the sink, impossible. I destroyed that camera. I watched myself pause, look up right at the lens I couldn't see. The clip ended with me turning away. No faceless thing this time, just me alone. I left the house again, drove to the edge of town, and threw the prepaid phone into a dumpster behind a gas station. I didn't go back. I checked into a motel, paid cash, and sat on the sagging bed, staring at the door. No tech, no screens, just me and the hum of the highway outside. I thought it might stop if I cut the cord completely. I was wrong. That night, a knock came at 2:47 a.m. I didn't answer, just watched the shadow under the door, 2 feet, still as stone. It stayed there for 30 seconds, then vanished. No sound, no retreating steps. I didn't sleep. Morning brought a maid with a cart and I asked her to check the hall. She shrugged, no one there, no cameras either. I stayed another night, door locked, chair jammed tight. At 3:14 a.m. the knock came again. Same shadow, same 30 seconds. I called the front desk, voice trembling. The clerk said the outdoor cameras showed nothing, no one at my door, just me inside, pacing. I hung up, checked the peephole. Empty. I went back to the house the next day. I had to, I couldn't run forever. The living room was as I'd left it, trash bag slumped, broken box scattered. But the air felt wrong, thick with something I couldn't name. I sat on the couch waiting, daring it to show itself. At dusk, my old phone, the cracked one I'd abandoned, lit up on the coffee table. I hadn't brought it back. New file detected, 06:19 p.m. I opened it. The screen showed me right then sitting on the couch, staring at the phone. The angle was from the corner of the room, no camera there, not anymore. I didn't move on the screen, just watched myself watching. Then the closet door in the background creaked open. That thing stepped out faceless, towering, head tilted. It didn't approach. It stood, 30 seconds ticking by, and I felt it behind me, real and cold, before the clip cut to black. I turned slow, knowing what I'd see. It was their skin smooth and blank, staring without eyes. I ran, but the door wouldn't open. The lights died and my old phone buzzed again. I didn't look. I pounded the wood screaming until my fists bled. When the lights flickered back, it was gone. The door gave and I stumbled outside, gulping air. I don't live there anymore. But every night at 3:14 a.m. I feel it watching faceless, waiting 30 seconds at a time. I got the doorbell camera after the break-in started. Not my place. None had hit my street yet, but the news was full of them. Smashed windows, empty drawers, families waking to missing TVs. I live alone. A small house on a cul-de-sac. And the idea of someone creeping around while I slept twisted my nerves. The camera was cheap, easy to install, with motion alerts and a decent night vision lens. I bolted it to the frame, synced it to my phone, and tested it by stepping outside. My face popped up on the app, clear as day. Good enough. The first alert came 3 nights later, 2:19 a.m. I jolted awake, phone buzzing on the nightstand like an angry wasp. Motion detected, front door. I tapped the app, bleary-eyed, expecting a stray cat or a gust-blown branch. The footage loaded, grainy, green-tinted, the porch steps sharp in the frame. A face stared back, blurry, too close to the lens, filling the screen. No body, just a smear of skin and shadow where features should have been. My heart kicked hard. I checked the window beside my bed, curtains cracked. Just the empty street, sodium lights buzzing faintly. The clip was 10 seconds long, ending with that face still there, unmoving. I told myself it was a glitch. The camera was new, probably buggy. I replayed it in the morning, coffee steaming beside me. The blur didn't sharpen, no matter how I squinted. Just a vague oval, like a thumb smudged over wet paint. I checked the door, no scratches, no footprints on the mat. The lock held firm. I shrugged it off, deleted the clip, went to work. But that night, I double-checked the bolts before bed. The next alert hit at 2:43 a.m. Motion detected, front door. I grabbed the phone, pulse already up. The footage rolled. Same porch, same green glow, same face. Clearer now. Eyes too big, mouth a thin slash, pressed close to the lens. It didn't move, didn't blink, just stared. 10 seconds, then black. I stumbled to the window, yanked the curtain wide. Nothing out there, not even a breeze stirring the bushes. I checked the app's live feed, empty porch, steps bare. My hands shook as I locked the bedroom door, a habit I hadn't had since I was a kid. By the third night, I was ready. I stayed up, lights off, phone propped on my lap, watching the live feed. The street stayed still, cars parked, shadows pooling under trees. At 2:37 a.m., the alert pinged. Motion detected, front door. The clip loaded. That face again, sharper still, skin pale and stretched, eyes black pits, mouth twitching like it wanted to speak. It was inches from the lens, filling every pixel. I switched to live view. Nothing, just the porch, quiet and dark. I rewatched the clip, stomach sinking. The background showed my door, shut tight, same as always. No one had opened it. I called the cops the next morning, showed them the footage, 3 nights, 3 clips, that face getting clearer each time. The officer, a tired guy with a notepad, watched in silence. Could be a prank, he said, scribbling something. Kids with a mask, screwing with you. He didn't sound convinced. They checked the yard, found nothing, no tracks, no signs. Keep us posted, he said, leaving me with a card and a locked door that didn't feel locked enough. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch, blinds down, phone in hand, waiting. The alert came at 2:51 a.m. Motion detected, front door. I opened it fast. The face was crystal clear now. Gaunt, eyeless sockets deep as wells, mouth a jagged tear, teeth glinting inside. It pressed against the lens so close I could see the pores in its skin. 10 seconds, unblinking. I checked the live feed empty. Then the app buzzed again, unprompted. Live feed updated. The screen shifted. My living room, me on the couch, staring at the phone. The angle was from above the TV. I looked up. No camera there, just bare wall. My breath stopped. The face appeared behind me on the screen, leaning closer. It seems like there might be a typo in your message. Did you mean next? I'll assume you want me to continue with part 2 of Face in Doorbell Camera. If I got that wrong, just let me know. Here's the second part, wrapping up the story at around 1,500 to 1,600 words total. I didn't turn around. Couldn't. The phone trembled in my hands, the live feed showing that thing. Its eyeless face, its jagged mouth, hovering inches from my shoulder. My reflection in the blank TV screen stared back, wide-eyed, alone. No shadow, no shape behind me. But the feed didn't lie. It was there, leaning in, its head tilting like it could hear my pulse hammering. I dropped the phone, screen down, and bolted for the bedroom, slamming the door, twisting the lock. My breath came in gasps, loud in the silence. I didn't hear footsteps, didn't hear anything. Just the hum of the house settling, mocking me. I grabbed a kitchen knife from the dresser. I'd stashed it there after the first night, and crouched by the bed, eyes on the door. The phone buzzed downstairs, muffled but insistent. I ignored it. Minutes dragged, the clock ticking to 3 a.m., then 3:30. No knocks, no creaks. I started to think I'd imagined it, that the feed was some sick trick of the app. Then the lights flickered, not off, just dim, like something sucked the power thin. My phone buzzed again, louder, even though it wasn't here. I crept back to the living room, knife raised, every step a fight against turning back. The phone sat on the carpet, screen glowing. Motion detected, front door, 3:42 a.m. I didn't want to look, but my hand moved anyway, flipping it over. The footage loaded. The porch, empty, door shut tight. No face, no blur, just 10 seconds of nothing. Relief hit, shaky and brief, until the app pinged again. Live feed updated. The screen shifted to the bedroom, me minutes ago, crouched by the bed, knife gleaming. The angle was from the ceiling corner. I'd never put a camera there. I spun, slashing at the air, but the room was empty. The phone buzzed. Relentless now. Asterisk new file detected. 3:45 a.m. star. I opened it, dread a weight in my gut. The living room, live, me standing there, staring at the screen. Behind me, the front door cracked open, slow and silent. That face slid into frame. Not blurry, not distant. Clear as a photograph, eyeless, grinning, teeth sharp and wet. It didn't step inside. It just watched, head cocked, 10 seconds ticking by. I turned to the real door. Shut, locked, deadbolt in place. My lungs burned. I hadn't breathed. I tore the doorbell camera off the frame that night, smashed it with a hammer in the garage, plastic and wires crunching under the blows. No more alerts, I told myself. No more eyes. I uninstalled the app, reset my phone, and sat in the dark, knife on my lap. Dawn came, gray and cold, and I didn't move. The house felt hollow, like it was waiting. I avoided mirrors, windows, anything that could reflect. Anything that could show me something I didn't want to see. A week passed. No buzzes, no shadows. I started sleeping again, fitful but real. Then, last night, I woke to a sound. Not my phone, but a faint chime, like a doorbell echo. It was 2:49 a.m. I checked the front door. Nothing, just the empty porch through the peephole. My old phone, reset and powered off, sat on the kitchen counter where I'd left it. The screen flickered on as I passed. Motion detected, 02:49 a.m. I froze. The app was gone, but the footage loaded anyway. The porch, my door ajar, that face peering in. Closer, sharper, its mouth stretching wider. 10 seconds of it staring, then black. I grabbed the knife and backed away. The chime rang again, louder, from inside. I checked every room, doors locked, windows sealed. The sound came from the walls, a soft pulse, like something breathing through the plaster. My phone buzzed, screen glowing, live feed updated. It showed me right then standing in the kitchen, knife raised. The angle was from the ceiling, no camera, no wires. Behind me, the face emerged, not from a door, but from the wall itself, skin stretching out of the paint, eyeless sockets fixed on me. I turned. The wall was bare. I don't sleep anymore. The chime comes every night, 2:49 a.m., sharper each time. The face doesn't need cameras now. It's here, in the house, in the walls. I see it in the corners. A smudge at first, then clear, eyeless, grinning, waiting. The knife still in my hand, but I don't know what I'm fighting. Last night, the chime didn't stop. It's still ringing, faint, inside my head. The noises started a month after I moved in. Scratches first, like nails on wood, faint enough to blame on mice. Then footsteps, heavy, deliberate, pacing the hall at night. I live alone, a rented 2-story with creaky stairs and too many windows, so I chalked it up to the house settling. But last week, the footsteps stopped outside my bedroom door and I heard breathing, slow, wet, right against the wood. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I bought cameras, 4 of them, small and wireless, with night vision and motion alerts. I set them up, one in the living room, one in the kitchen, one on the upstairs landing, one in my bedroom corner. If something was here, I'd catch it. The first alert came at 1:17 a.m. that night. Motion detected, kitchen. I bolted awake, phone already in hand, the app glowing. The footage loaded, green-tinted, the stove and sink sharp in the frame. Me standing there, facing the wall, a marker in my hand. I was writing something, slow strokes, head tilted like I was concentrating. The clip cut off at 20 seconds, motion sensor timeout. I hadn't left my bed. I was still here, sheets tangled around my legs, staring at the screen. My chest tightened. I checked the live feed, kitchen empty, no marker, no writing. Just shadows. I rewatched it frame by frame. It was me, my sweatshirt, my hair scribbling on the wall, but I couldn't make out the words, too shaky, too small. I stumbled downstairs, barefoot, the house cold and silent. The kitchen wall was bare, paint unmarred. No marker anywhere, counters clear, drawers shut. I checked the bedroom camera's feed, me, asleep, unmoving, timestamp matching the kitchen clip. Both couldn't be true. I locked the bedroom door, propped a chair under the knob, and sat up, phone clutched tight. The next alert hit at 2:33 a.m. Motion detected, living room. I opened it, dread pooling. There I was again, kneeling on the rug, hands clawing at the floorboards like I was digging. My face was blank, eyes half shut, mouth slack. 20 seconds of scraping, then nothing. I checked the live feed, empty, the rug flat, no scratches. I didn't go down to look. I didn't trust my legs. The bedroom feed showed me in bed, same timestamp, still as a corpse. I pinched my arm, hard awake, real? The footage wasn't. By morning I was a wreck, eyes burning, coffee doing nothing for the shakes. I called a locksmith, got the deadbolt swapped, figuring maybe someone was sneaking in, staging this. The guy found no signs, locks intact, windows secure. I didn't tell him about the cameras. That night, I stayed up, lights on, watching the feeds live. At 3:09 a.m., the alert pinged. Motion detected, upstairs landing. Me at the top of the stairs, holding a shovel from the garage I hadn't touched in weeks. I was swinging it, slow arcs, into the wall. Plaster dust puffed out, silent on the clip. 20 seconds, then black. I was in bed, watching the phone, not swinging anything. The live feed showed the landing clean, no dust, no dents. I tore downstairs, shovel still in the garage, untouched. The landing wall was smooth, no marks. My phone buzzed, asterisk motion detected, bedroom 3:12 a.m. star. I opened it mid-step. Me standing over the bed, staring down at myself sleeping, shovel raised like I'd swing. The me on the screen turned, looked straight into the camera, eyes wide and wrong, too big, too dark. 20 seconds of that stare, then gone. I checked the live feed, empty, just my bed, sheets crumpled. I looked at the corner where the camera sat. Its red light blinked, steady watching. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The footage wasn't a glitch, it was me doing things I didn't do, things I didn't remember. I checked the recordings again, every clip timestamped when I was asleep, every live feed showing me where I should be. But those eyes, mine but not mine, stuck with me. I unplugged the cameras at dawn, ripped their batteries out and dumped them in a drawer. No more alerts, I told myself. No more proof. I was wrong. That night, my phone buzzed anyway, asterisk motion detected, basement, 3:47 a.m. star. I hadn't put a camera down there. I stared at the notification * motion detected, basement, 3:47 a.m. *, my phone trembling in my grip. I hadn't put a camera in the basement. I'd only been down there once, the day I moved in to check the furnace. It was a damp concrete hole, empty except for cobwebs and a rusty water heater. No outlets, no Wi-Fi signal, nothing to power a camera. The app shouldn't even know that space existed. I didn't want to look, but my thumb tapped the screen anyway like it wasn't mine. The footage loaded, green night vision, a low angle, concrete walls slick with moisture. Me kneeling in the center, digging into the floor with my bare hands. Dirt piled around me, black and wet, my fingers clawing deeper, nails torn and bloody. My face was tilted down, hidden, but it was my jacket, my boots. The hole grew, slow and deliberate, 20 seconds of silent scraping before the clip cut off. I was upstairs, in the bedroom, awake, staring at the phone. I hadn't moved. My hands were clean, dry, unbloodied, shaking. I checked the live feed, blank static, no basement view. The other cameras were still unplugged, batteries out, dead in the drawer. I crept to the basement door, just off the kitchen, its chipped paint cold under my palm. Locked, the bolt stiff from disuse. I pressed my ear to it, no breathing, no scratching, just the house's usual hum. My phone buzzed again, * motion detected, basement, 3:51 a.m. I opened it, breath shallow. Same angle, same green glow, me deeper in the hole now, chest high, tossing dirt over my shoulder. My head lifted, slow, and I saw my face, eyes black pits, mouth stretched too wide, teeth glinting. It wasn't a smile. 20 seconds, then black. I yanked the door open, flashlight in hand, half expecting to see that hole, that me. The stairs groaned as I descended, beams slashing through the dark. The basement was empty, concrete unbroken, no dirt, no shovel. Just the water heater, ticking faintly, and a damp chill that clung to my skin. I checked every corner, every crack. Nothing. Back upstairs, I locked the door again, dragged the kitchen table in front of it, and sat, flashlight on, phone face down. It buzzed at 4:13 a.m. * motion detected, kitchen, for :12 a.m. I flipped it over. The footage showed the kitchen, live, me sitting at the table, flashlight beam cutting the dark. The angle was from above the sink, no camera there, not anymore. I watched myself on the screen, staring at the phone, just like now. Then the basement door behind me creaked open, inch by inch, the table sliding silently aside. A hand reached out, mine, bloody, dirt-caked, gripping the frame. My head turned on the screen, those black eyes locking on the lens. 20 seconds of me climbing out, slow and jerky, then static. I spun in my chair. The door was shut, table still blocking it, unmoved. I didn't trust the house anymore. I grabbed my keys, jacket, and ran to the car, peeling out without looking back. Dawn was hours away, the streets empty, fog swallowing the headlights. I drove to a 24-hour truck stop, parked under a floodlight, and locked the doors. Safe, I thought. No cameras, no footage. My phone buzzed at 5:02 a.m. * motion detected, basement, 5:01 a.m. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The clip showed the basement again, me standing in that hole, waist deep now, staring up at the lens. My face was wrong, skin too tight, eyes sunken, mouth a jagged tear. I didn't move, just watched, 20 seconds of stillness. Then my hands reached up, smearing dirt on the camera, and the screen went black. I checked my own hands, clean, no mud. The truck stop's glare lit the car, my reflection sharp in the window. My phone buzzed again, * live feed updated . The screen shifted, me in the car, staring at the phone, floodlight harsh on my face. The angle was from the dashboard. No camera there. Behind me, in the back seat, those black eyes opened. I screamed, dropped the phone, and fumbled the door open, tumbling onto the asphalt. The back seat was empty, crumpled wrappers, a water bottle, nothing else. I grabbed the phone, screen cracked but glowing, and ran inside the truck stop, collapsing in a booth. The waitress didn't ask, just poured coffee. I didn't touch it. My phone buzzed, face down on the table, and I knew I couldn't outrun it. I didn't pick up the phone. It buzzed again, a low hum against the chipped formica, but I kept my hands wrapped around the coffee mug, letting the heat burn my palms. The truck stop was half alive, 2 drivers at the counter, a jukebox whining in the corner, the waitress scrubbing a grill. Normal, safe. My eyes stayed on the phone, waiting for it to stop. It didn't. 5 buzzes, 10, each one sharper, like it was clawing for attention. The waitress glanced over, frown deepening, but I didn't move. Finally, it went silent. I exhaled, shaky, and sipped the coffee bitter, grounding. Then the TV above the counter flickered. Static at first, then a green-tinted image, the basement, that hole, me standing in it, chest deep now, staring up. My face, those black eyes, that torn mouth filled the screen. The drivers didn't notice, heads down over their plates, but the waitress froze, sponge dripping in her hand. The clip ran 20 seconds, me unmoving, then cut to black. The news jingle kicked back in, cheery and wrong. She looked at me, eyes wide. "You on TV?" she asked, voice tight. I shook my head, grabbed my phone, and bolted for the bathroom. Locked in a stall, I opened the app, dozens of new files, timestamps piling up. 5:15 a.m., 5:19 a.m., 5:23 a.m. I played the latest, me in the truck stop booth, staring at the TV, coffee untouched. The angle was from the ceiling, no security cameras hung there, just grimy tiles. My head turned on the screen slow, those black eyes finding the lens. Behind me, the waitress approached, mouth moving, but the clip cut before she spoke. 20 seconds, always 20. I checked the live feed bathroom stall, me hunched over the phone, right now. The angle shifted, zooming in. My reflection in the cracked screen showed my real face, pale, terrified, but the feed didn't. It showed that face, staring back. I smashed the phone against the sink, glass shattering, and ran. Outside, the car sat under the floodlight, fog curling around it. I didn't get in, couldn't trust it. I walked, highway stretching into the dark, no plan, just motion. Hours blurred, dawn creeping gray and thin, but the weight didn't lift. I felt watched, every shadow twitching in the corner of my eye. By noon, I hit a gas station, bought a burner phone with cash, kept it off. I wouldn't give it a chance to find me. That night, I crashed in a motel, door chained, curtains nailed shut with a pocket knife. No tech, no screens, just me and the dark. I woke at 3:47 a.m. to a hum, low and steady from the nightstand. The burner phone off, battery out, was glowing, screen cracked but alive. Motion detected, motel room, 3:46 a.m. I opened it, hands numb. The footage showed me asleep on the bed, sheets twisted. The angle was from above, no camera possible. My eyes opened on the screen, black, bottomless, and I sat up, staring at the lens. My mouth moved, words I couldn't hear, 20 seconds of that gaze. Then static. I threw the phone out the window, heard it shatter on the pavement. The hum didn't stop, it was in the walls now, vibrating the air. I grabbed my jacket and ran, barefoot, into the night. The motel clerk didn't see me go, head down, TV flickering behind him. I caught my face on the screen as I passed, black eyes, torn mouth, watching. I kept running, roads blurring into fields, until my lungs gave out. I collapsed in the dirt, panting, alone. Or not alone. It's been days. I don't sleep, don't stop moving. The footage finds me, gas station TVs, strangers' phones, a cracked billboard screen flashing my face, those eyes, that hole in the basement I never dug. Last night, I saw it in a puddle, rippling, me, digging still, deeper, dirt up to my neck. I don't know what's down there, what I'm looking for. But I feel it watching, always 20 seconds ahead, pulling me back. I trash the cameras, the phones, but it's not them. It's me or what's left of me. The footsteps are back now, heavy, close, and I don't need a screen to know what's coming. I've lived here 5 years and the house across the street has always been empty. Boarded windows, peeling paint, a lawn gone to seed, it's the kind of place kids dare each other to touch on Halloween. No one's seen the owner, no mail piles up, just a husk sitting there, rotting quiet. I never cared much, kept my blinds shut, my business mine. But last month, my security camera started acting up. It's a cheap one, pointed at my driveway, meant to catch package thieves or stray dogs. Lately though, it's been picking up a feed I didn't ask for. The first time was a fluke, I thought. I woke at 3:06 a.m. to my phone buzzing, asterisk motion detected, front yard star. I opened the app, expecting a raccoon or a car's headlights. The footage loaded, not my driveway but the abandoned house's porch, sagging under vines. A light flickered inside, faint through the cracked boards, and a shadow moved, tall, thin, pacing past the window. 20 seconds of that, then static. I checked the live feed, my driveway, normal, dark. The app shouldn't have access to anything else, no second camera, no network link. I rebooted it, went back to sleep, figured it was a glitch. It happened again the next night, 2:58 a.m. Motion detected, front yard. The clip showed the abandoned house's kitchen, dirty tiles, a rusted sink, and a woman standing there, back to the camera, stirring something on a stove that didn't work. She didn't turn, just stirred, slow and mechanical, 20 seconds before the feed cut. I sat up, heart kicking, and checked my window. The house across the street was black, no light, no life. I rewatched the clip, her hair was long, tangled, her dress faded. No one lived there. I'd have seen them. By the third night, I was waiting for it. Phone in hand, lights off, I watched the app. At 3:12 a.m., the alert pinged. This time, it was the living room, dusty floorboards, a chair tipped over, and a man sitting in the corner, head down, hands folded. He didn't move, just sat, 20 seconds of stillness. The woman from the kitchen walked in, slow, carrying a bowl, and set it beside him. Neither looked up. The clip ended. I crossed to the window, peeled the blind back, darkness, same as always. My camera's live feed showed my car, my porch, nothing else. I called the company the next day, some tech drone who barely listened. Probably interference, he said. Reset the device. I did, unplugged it, wiped the app, reinstalled everything. That night, 3:19 a.m., the alert came anyway. The footage showed a bedroom, moldy walls, a bare mattress, and two kids sitting on it, facing each other, whispering. I couldn't hear them, just saw their mouths move, urgent, 20 seconds long. The woman stood in the doorway, watching, then stepped out of frame. I checked the house, nothing, no glow, no shadows. My camera hummed on its mount, red light steady. I stopped sleeping right after that. Every night, a new clip, the basement, a man shoveling dirt, shirt soaked, the attic, the woman rocking in a chair that wasn't there, the hall, the kids running, silent and fast. Always 20 seconds, always them, living in that empty shell across the street. I started watching from my porch, flashlight in hand, but the house stayed dead, no lights, no motion. My camera didn't care, it kept pulling their feed, like it had latched onto something I couldn't see. Last night tipped it. The alert came at 3:27 a.m. The clip showed the front porch of the abandoned house, door ajar, the man standing there, staring out. He turned slow and looked straight into the camera, my lens. His eyes were pale, sunken, his mouth a thin line. 20 seconds, just him, then black. I didn't check the window, I ran outside, barefoot, flashlight beam bouncing. The porch was empty, boards nailed tight. I aimed the light at my camera, its angle fixed on my driveway. It buzzed, faintly, and my phone pinged * motion detected, front yard star. I opened it, standing right there. The footage wasn't the abandoned house this time, it was me on my porch, flashlight raised, staring at the camera. 20 seconds of my own face, pale and wide-eyed. Then the screen shifted, live feed, the abandoned house's living room. Me again, inside, standing by that tipped-over chair, looking out the window toward my house. The man stood behind me, close, watching. I turned, flashlight slashing the dark. My porch was empty. Across the street, the house stared back, silent. I didn't go back inside right away. My porch felt exposed, the night pressing in, that silent house across the street looming like it knew something I didn't. The flashlight trembled in my hand, beam jittering over the lawn, but I couldn't look at it, couldn't face those boarded windows. My phone buzzed again in my pocket, insistent, but I left it there, ignored it. I'd seen enough. I locked the door, double-checked the bolts, and sat on the couch, lights on, staring at nothing. The camera's hum filtered through the wall, faint but alive. Sleep wasn't an option, but exhaustion won around dawn. I woke to sunlight, neck stiff, phone on the floor where it had slipped. 3 new alerts stacked on the screen. 3:45 a.m., 4:02 a.m., 4:19 a.m. I shouldn't have looked, I knew it, but I did. The first clip was the abandoned house's kitchen again. Me standing by the sink, hands braced on the counter, head down. The woman lingered in the corner, stirring air, watching me. 20 seconds, then static. The second showed the basement, me kneeling in dirt, staring up at the lens with pale, empty eyes. The man shoveled beside me, slow and steady. The third was the attic, me sitting in that non-existent rocking chair, swaying, the kids whispering behind me, their mouths moving faster now. I dropped the phone, hands cold. I hadn't left the couch, I'd been here, passed out, not wandering some ghost house. I checked the live feed, my driveway, normal, the camera's angle unchanged. Then it buzzed again, unprompted, * live feed updated star. The screen shifted, the abandoned house's front room, me standing by the window, staring out. My face was wrong, too still, too hollow. The man stepped closer, his hand on my shoulder, and the woman joined, bowl in hand. The kids ran past, silent blurs. I looked out my rear window, nothing moved across the street, just dead boards and weeds. I ripped the camera off its mount that morning, smashed it with a hammer in the garage, plastic splintering under the blows. No more feed, no more lies. I uninstalled the app, trashed my phone in a drawer, and stayed inside, blinds shut. The house across the street stayed quiet, too quiet, like it was waiting. That night, I heard it. A soft creak, not my floorboards, but distant, muffled, like it came from over there. I didn't look. I couldn't. At 3:27 a.m., the creak turned to footsteps, heavy, pacing right outside my window. I kept the lights off, breath shallow, listening. My old phone buzzed in the drawer, a sound it shouldn't make, battery dead days ago. I yanked it open, grabbed the thing's screen cracked but glowing. Motion detected, front yard, 3:28 a.m. The clip loaded, the abandoned house's porch, me standing there, staring at my own window. My eyes were gone, just dark pits, my mouth a thin slash. The man stood behind me, pale gaze fixed on the lens. 20 seconds, then black. I threw the phone across the room, heard it shatter. The footsteps stopped, but the air thickened, a weight pressing my chest. I crossed to the window, cracked the blind, nothing out there, just my empty yard, the house across the street dark and still. Then a light flickered inside it, faint, through a gap in the boards. I watched, frozen, as it moved kitchen to living room to upstairs, steady, deliberate. My new phone, untouched on the counter, buzzed, asterisk motion detected, unknown location, 3:33 a.m. star. I opened it, hands numb. The footage showed me inside that house, walking down its hall, slow, the kids trailing behind, whispering. The woman waited at the end, bowl outstretched, the man beside her, shovel in hand. I reached them, turned, and looked into the camera, my face, eyeless, smiling faintly. 20 seconds of that stare, then static. I ran outside, barefoot, to the abandoned house, pounded the door, no give, boards solid. The light was gone. I broke a window with a rock, climbed in. Dust and rot hit me, empty rooms, no furniture, no people. Just silence. I don't sleep now. Every night, the creaks come, the footsteps, that light flickering across the street. My cameras are gone, phones smashed, but I see it, in mirrors, in puddles, me, walking those rooms, eyeless with them. Last night, I looked out, saw myself on that porch, staring back. The door behind me creaked open. I didn't turn. I don't need to, I know what's there, waiting to take me across.